Hello and welcome to photo compositing on the iPad. My name is Aaron Nace and joining me in the studio is... Wait, where's my co-host? Oh yeah, I need to summon her up. Boom! There we go, VooDoo Val in the house.
I cannot say I've ever been summoned with deedly deedly.
Deedly, that's magic.
Okay, that's how it works.
You know, some people do the whole abracadabra, but I find deedly do works
Honestly,
as well.
it was the most powerful summoning I've ever been a part of.
Yes.
So that's fine. That's great.
I'm so glad you just appeared literally out of nowhere.
Out of thin air. Yeah, it was just literally just Chad and Marissa. It's good to see you guys.
I was thinking I was gonna have to do this whole broadcast alone.
Oh, honestly, if it wouldn't have been that strong magic, you might have been alone this entire time.
We were all waiting for the deedlies.
Yeah, you usually say Kylo Ren 3 times.
Kylo Ren.
Well, welcome back, everyone, to day 2 of photo compositing on the iPad, as Aaron said. My name is VooDoo Val, and obviously this is the wonderful and fantastic Aaron Nace of Flern, and we are going to be jumping back into some fabulous work today. However, before we get into what you've got planned and what's going to be going on, we want to sort of inform you on what is going to be going on for the rest of the day, for the rest of the week. So earlier this morning, you folks were watching Terry White with the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge. And then obviously now it's photo compositing with Aaron. And then right after us is going to be Andrea Hawk with the XD Daily Creative Challenge. So those of you looking to scrub up on your UI UX skills, definitely tune in for that. And then we're going to have Alexis Bustos with the XD collaboration coming up at the end of the stream day. We also have some giveaways going on today. So if you are over on the YouTube chat, definitely head over to behance.net/live and be active in the Behance chat, because we are going to be doing a chat and win about 30 minutes in, which should be super fun. You will be entered to win automatically by being active in chat 100 free custom stickers from Sticker Mules. So that means you can design your own stickers and upload them, and they will send you 100 of them.
I just need a sticker of this
right
here.
Yeah.
Just pop. Maybe your little Bitmoji.
Oh yes,
texted me yesterday, and I was like, that is super cute.
The little emoji Val. That's like, she's very sassy. She's
I know. I need
spicy.
that. I need to add it in my stories.
You need some of them for your own. You would love them.
Yes, all about it.
But without further ado, let's jump into what you got planned. I know you got something very special going on this morning. It's going to be very awesome.
We have something super duper special. For those of you guys who follow my Instagram stories, you already know what I was up to this morning. For those of you guys who don't, you obviously should. I'm AK Nacer, AK N as in Nancy, ACER, on Instagram, and I'm all about my Instagram stories. This morning, I woke up at 3:30 a.m.
Oh no.
In the a.m. 3:30 in the morning. What was I doing? Well, I was conspiring with my buddy Josh Cripps last night. There's this really cool app called Photo Pills, which tells you where the sun rises and sun sets, and also the moon.
Oh,
you
okay.
can plan out shoots like to the T. You know exactly where sun rises and sun sets, where the moon is gonna be, exactly the angle, all this crazy stuff. So literally in my hotel room yesterday, I'm talking with Josh for like an hour. And we're like, I want to shoot the full moon, because it's a full moon today. Like 5:36 a.m. was the full moon. So I'm like, I want to shoot the full moon. I'm here in San Francisco. I want to shoot it over the Golden Gate Bridge. Over the South Tower of the Golden Gate Bridge. That was the goal. So using this app called Photo Pills, which I'm super into, I was able to figure out exactly where I needed to stand, what lens I needed to use, and exactly what time the moon was gonna pass directly over the South Tower of the Golden Gate Bridge.
And that's called Photo Pills?
Photo Pills, like I'm taking pills, you know what I'm saying? Photo Pills, it's an app, it's like $10 or something, but it's so good.
It literally says shoot legendary photos.
There's a lot to the app. Honestly, I've been using it for a couple months and I'm still learning what's going on in this. But literally, we were able to use on Google Maps, I was able to figure out exactly where I needed to stand, so the moon was gonna come right over top of the South Tower of the Golden Gate Bridge. I was standing there, shivering a little bitter cold at... I got there like 4:30 in the morning because I didn't want to miss it or anything. And the moon just passed right over the Golden Gate Bridge,
Oh,
and
my
as it
goodness.
did, I photographed it.
That's amazing.
And that was this morning.
This is photo pills, by the way, folks.
Yeah.
Just in case you
If you want to switch to
check
her
it, maybe we can-
laptop there.
That is it. Shoot legendary photos. So definitely check out this. This is photopills.com. So you can also take legendary photos like Aaron is about to show us.
Super stoked. So these photos are from this morning. And okay, so I get a lot of questions about like raw photo editing on the iPad. Like, is it a thing? Like, of course, we know like Photoshop, we're gonna be getting into that in a second. Here's my workflow. When I'm done shooting, I load my memory card directly into my iPad.
Yeah, and that's what you were saying yesterday. What do you use for that again?
You can use a couple different things. You can use just like a SD card reader. If you got a USB-C SD card reader, you can just plug it right in. I have this thing called a NAR box. They're actually based out of, they're based out of LA. They're super cool. It's like a little computer, like little box. You can plug a SD card into that. It'll back it up on the field, which is so cool. I love this thing. And then you can plug that right into your iPad and get your raw images on the iPad from that.
Fabulous.
I love this little NAR box thing. So that's what I did in my hotel room this morning right before I came.
Amazing.
So what we have here is, this is Lightroom. This is Adobe Lightroom on the iPad. And these are my photos from this morning, and these are raw images. So we're gonna go through the whole workflow pretty quick here in Lightroom, because obviously this is a Photoshop broadcast, but I do wanna just show a little bit of that actual process. So here's some of my photos from this morning, and browsing through these images, we can see I actually was able to get photos of like literally like just the moon. Like check this out. This is with my 70 to 200 millimeter lens. Photographing the moon. And the crazy thing about, yeah, right? The crazy thing about the photographing the moon is it's really bright. It's like, it's almost like photographing the sun. Like my exposure, look at this information. This is like in the middle of the night. I'm at ISO 100 at f8 at 1/80th of a second.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and some of these other ones, I shot at 1/125th of a second at f8 at ISO 100.
What?
I know, that's like daylight settings. It's nuts.
That's crazy.
So the moon is super bright. So basically, I found it difficult to get the moon and the bridge both in the same exposure. Like either the moon was super bright or the bridge was super dark. So going through my photos here, you can see kind of like the path of the moon as it's like going over the bridge. There was a decent bit of fog, and the whole time I was like,
it's so magical, honestly. Like that is just so cool.
So magic. So going through the photos, I'm looking at these images, and like some of these images I'm like in love with. Like,
yeah, like the red fog coming up off of the,
Yes, so I'm gonna go ahead and star a couple of these. We're gonna go to our star ratings, go to our little 5 stars. And I've literally not looked through these photos just yet because, you know, we're doing this live broadcast. That one's really nice too. So what happened here, you can see, tried a couple different exposures. What happened here is like everything looked beautiful like right before the moon was directly over top. But when the moon like did get like directly over top, the moon started getting covered a little bit with the fog. You know what I mean? And there we go. I'm trying to expose for the moon here, but it didn't really work.
That looks great though. I love it.
Just that quick, the moon has passed. So what we're gonna do is a little bit of a composite here. We're gonna composite these photos together, which I know is like for like a, you know, legit landscape photographer, maybe compositing is a no-no, but
if that's what you want to do, it's your art.
That
you know?
it's yes,
that's
exactly.
How you express yourself.
I'm okay with it. I'm sure there are people who are like, that's not exactly cool. But in this case, I'm okay with. Well, people do HDRs in landscape photography, and that's technically compositing too. It's just a different type of compositing. So what we're gonna do is just put a little different. I put the work in. It's not like I'm just, you know, whatever. But what we're gonna do is actually combine these together in Photoshop because, well, we have beautiful Photoshop at our disposal. We might as well use the tools that we have, right?
This is like, the whole chat is filled with just love and awe for these photos.
Yes,
Everyone is loving
much.
Them. It looks like Chad's wondering if you're shooting with a Sony camera.
Yes, Chad, I'm shooting with a Sony a7R4. Fantastic camera. I actually shoot with an app as well. So it's the Imaging Edge app or whatever. It's the Sony app. I don't even touch the camera. I just press the button, and not only does it take a picture, it sends a JPEG preview directly to my phone, so I can zoom in and check focus.
That's
and things
so
like
cool.
That. So,
that's so cool.
For those of you guys saying like do an overexposed, underexposed thing, I totally did that, and you can see it here. Like this is, you know, underexposed, and here's the moon. But in this one, I'm not seeing any bit of the other detail. So I don't know. Again, like I photographed these this morning, so like I got a couple different ways. You know, in my head, I'm like, I could probably like edit these, but for now, I just want to show you guys the workflow, and let's get it together. Let's get it together. Okay, so I want to find one that with the moon that I think is strong, because I did photograph just the moon, like earlier on, like I have all these of the moon itself, but for now, we're just gonna do a real simple composite. So I'm gonna go to my filters. Let's go ahead and filter this by 5 stars, okay? So now I'm like, okay, which one of these bridges do I like the best?
I love that second one.
This one here?
Yeah.
I love this one too. So let's go ahead and make that a flag, okay? Yes, flag it out. And then this one, we'll put this together too. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go to select. So let's go to select here. We're just gonna select both of these photos because we have the moon from this one, right? And then we've got, or the bridge from this one, and then we've got the moon and the reflections from this one. Okay, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and hit share, and I'm gonna save these to my files. We're just gonna go to the maximum size available. It's amazing that we're doing this on the iPad. Oh, you know what? You could actually edit these because this is Lightroom, right?
Yeah.
So let me just hit cancel right quick. Sorry, I'm like, obviously this is about Photoshop, but like here in Lightroom, like I can take my highlights and bring those down a little bit, right?
Nice.
There we go. I can take my shadows, like bump up our contrast a little bit. There we go. Our color, let's bring our, maybe our color temperature. No, it looked good. There we go. And bring our vibrance up a little bit.
It's so nice that you can just so easily do that.
Yeah, I was just about to do this like all in Photoshop, but I'm like, we are in Lightroom. And then check this out. I can go up here. I can go to, let's just go back here. There we go. Go up here. We can go to copy settings. Okay. And then I'm gonna go right over here. Let's just hit this little back arrow. Oh, gotta hit check up there.
And honestly, speaking of editing in Lightroom, that's what our challenge for today is kind of centered around as well. So for all of you who are interested in checking out the Daily Creative Challenge, or maybe you have never heard of the Daily Creative Challenge, I can actually bring you over here to this page so I can show you how to get involved. If you go to behance.net/challenge/Photoshop, it will bring you to where you can actually start seeing all of our challenges being unlocked every morning. Terry White is going to be going through them just before our stream and the streams that will be the first of the day tomorrow. And today, the first challenge is import, arrange, and perform basic edits on an image in Lightroom. When you're finished, try exporting your image. So it's kind of what you're doing right now.
That's what we're doing.
So also we're going to be taking a look at these too.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah. So
Super
if you
fun.
folks would love for me and Aaron to take a look at your work, we are going to be pulling up all of the awesome submissions that you share with us in our Discord at the end of the stream. So definitely do that. If you head over to this page, you can actually get access to the Discord if you come down to the bottom here and say join us, or if you just say join community chat up here at the top. So definitely check that out because we want to see your work in Lightroom today.
Yes, fantastic. So we are ready. I went ahead and exported those just onto the files, and now I'm in Photoshop. We're ready to start editing. We're gonna start this composite. So I'm gonna go to import and open. Oh, and by the way, I decided, okay, 2 things. I decided to photograph this in portrait mode. You know, when you have a camera, you can go this way for landscape orientation or this way for portrait mode. I decided to do it in portrait mode for 2 reasons.
Okay.
One is I wanted to make sure the moon, I had the height to get the moon in the shot as well. So like, moon, bridge, water, like that. But also 2, I do so much posting on Instagram these days that I'm like, it's totally changed the way that I think about photography. It's like, if you post a horizontal image on Instagram, it's gonna be tiny.
Yeah, it is gonna be very tiny.
Yeah, a vertical image, and you get way more bang for your buck, So obviously I'm not like, I'm never gonna shoot a horizontal again. But
yeah.
I'm shooting a lot more vertical these days.
And today was kind of a really special occasion, right? Is that you're, going to shoot them, and then we're editing them immediately here, and
then
like,
it's gonna,
doing
I'm gonna
cool
post
Instagram
it.
stuff,
Yeah.
and just show us like your whole
right
process.
after this broadcast.
Yeah.
It's gonna be posted. Yes, so the whole thing is super special. Let's go ahead and import and open our files. We're just gonna go back here to our, there we go. We're gonna go to our iCloud Drive, Adobe Live 2019. And here we have our Golden Gate, and there are our images waiting for us.
Nice.
Hi, Aaron. We're just hanging out here waiting for you. Come and hang out with us. Okay, so we've got our first image here. Let's go ahead and bring in our second. So we're gonna click on our little frame icon, go back to our files, and then bring in our second image. And this is gonna be a simple composite. We're just gonna do, it's just gonna be some layer masking. That's really all there is to it. Soups, dupes, easy.
Can we add that to the list of Aaronisms? Soups, dupes, easy.
Soups, dupes, easy. All right. Soups, dupes, anyone can do this. All right, so here we have our shots. We're just gonna go through, let's go ahead and turn this layer off and on, okay? And you can see these shots were taken like a couple minutes apart. And it's insane how different they are and how much the moon moves in that little bit of time. You can see here the moon is actually lighting a bit of the bridge, which I love it too.
Yeah, I think I do really love that extra lighting and like the extra redness happening on the bridge in that other image.
Yes, it's beautiful. Apparently today was actually a real special day with the fog.
Really?
So after photographing this angle, I went and drove up to the Marin headlands. I think that's what they're called. Maybe it's the Highlands, I don't know. Highlander. It's the headlands? Headlands, okay. To photograph the bridge from, up top. And there was a bunch of people out there, and they were like, this is super special because normally the fog like covers up a lot of the bridge in the morning, and the fog was actually like under the bridge. Like not right here, but like 20 minutes after this, the fog was like directly under the bridge, and it was just like bridge with like a sheet of fog underneath.
That's awesome.
It was beautiful.
Very magical.
And I was talking with a guy who shoots this, like he's here all the time, and he was like, once a year, dude.
Really?
Once a year the fog's like this.
Wow, and you just decided to make
and it's a full moon.
This day. Yeah.
I mean, that's what that dude said. I mean,
Honestly, I feel like you made it happen with the Aaronism magic.
Ooh.
You've been summoning it this whole time.
Let's summon some more magic here in Photoshop. Marissa says the moon looks like the sun. I know, it totally does. And with the fog, you can't even see any stars. So turning this off and on, like we get to decide what we want. But basically, what I want from this layer, okay, so this layer is visible, and now it's invisible. What I want from this layer, let's just put a layer mask on here, okay? I'm gonna just paint with my brush tool, and we're gonna start painting black. So let's go ahead and choose a large soft edge brush, okay? We're gonna make sure we choose super, super soft, and I'm gonna bring my flow way down. There we go. Now, I'm gonna just start painting away the Golden Gate Bridge. Okay, let's bring our flow up a little bit more. We're just gonna start painting away the Golden Gate Bridge to reveal the other bridge.
Nice.
We're just revealing the other photograph. But I want the, I want the moon to be the same, right?
Yeah.
Obvi, because it looks killer. I want the moon to be the same. Let's bring our flow down. Anytime I want to do some blending, I want to bring my flow down a little bit and see how this just allows me to like really, really soften that up. You could also go right into your filters and blur your layer mask. That's another way to do it.
That's a great idea.
Okay, so check it out. This layer, let's go ahead and put our layers back on. This layer, what I'm getting from this layer is the sun here. Or it's not the sun, it's the moon. Nuts.
You're a wizard, Aaron. From Jordan Crawford. Hey, I mean, we already had an invisibility cloak on stream today. Like, we've had some serious spell casting with the Aaronisms this morning. So yeah, we could be.
Yes. Is he painting with a wand? Yes.
Yes.
What's Harry Potter's wand's name?
Oh, I don't know. I can't remember.
Someone in the chat knows the answer to
yeah,
this.
There has to be
do you
somebody.
know? Harry Potter's wand's name? I know it has a name. George the Wand. Yeah.
For now, we're gonna go with George unless someone corrects us.
I'm painting with George the Wand. So look at this incredibly simple composite. Basically, we're just taking the bridge that I like and taking the moon that I like and popping them together. Soups, dupes, easy. Okay, but you'll notice a couple things, huh? The bridge in the background, you notice the color's a little bit off in general. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a clipped adjustment.
Okay.
Okay, easy to do. We're just gonna click on our layer properties here and go to add a clipped adjustment and go to levels. Okay, we saw it yesterday. My love for levels is
it's
strong. It's through the moon.
Yep.
Right? You can do so many things with levels adjustment layers. Okay, so what I want to do is do a little bit of correction here. So I'm gonna find, what do you think? It needs to get a little bit brighter and a little bit more blue, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Right,
yes.
where I composite it together. So let's go to my blue channel, and I'm just gonna pull a little bit more blue.
Ooh.
Okay, just a tiny bit more blue. I'm gonna go to my red channel. I'm gonna take a little bit of the reds out of there.
Wow.
There we go.
That was very quick.
It's incredibly easy to do that. Let's just turn this off and on. So here's the before and the after.
Amazing.
Right?
It's funny too that you actually did mess with the red, but in the new blue atmosphere that you've added, it doesn't look like you changed the red at all.
Yeah, it's just
great.
It's crazy. It's just a very subtlety, subtly doodly do, right? You don't have to go crazy with it.
You're killing me, right? Subtly doodly do.
Subtly doodly do.
Yep. The new Aaronism.
Yes. So now I'm just gonna make it a tiny bit brighter with my levels here. So I'm just on the RGB levels. Let's just go right here. So when you use the RGB, so this is this little gray icon in your levels. That's just gonna edit your lights and darks. So you can see I just make it a tiny bit brighter until it fits in.
Oh gosh, that's perfect.
It's nice, right?
Yeah, it's
okay,
very nice.
So let's just turn that off. So you can see, because the light changes pretty rapidly, right? Like, so here we have off and then back on again. And I think we got a pretty good match.
Oh yeah.
I'm looking at the, I have a monitor of the broadcast here. I'm looking at that to be like, how good is our actual match?
Oh yeah. I mean, they both look fabulous. I've been looking here the whole time and that looks flawless.
I think it looks
perfect.
Pretty dang good.
Yeah.
So we're not done just yet because we have a little buoy floating here, which we could leave, but I'm like, a Photoshop nerd.
out.
So I'm like, let's get rid of that because that wasn't in my concept. Know what I'm saying? I gotta say, first of all, mad props to my buddy Joshua Cripps. I don't know if we can link to him on Instagram. And also mad props to Photo Pills, because I was not able to do this shot without either of those people, entities.
Is this a K or a C?
CRIPPS. He's an incredible landscape photographer. You should check out his Instagram, Joshua Cripps.
Wow, yeah, joshuacripps.com.
Yes, he does workshops and things like that, nature photos. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Look at that. He's shooting the moon like a pro.
Wow.
Yeah, he's incredible. So, good friend of mine, and yeah, look at that stuff he's doing.
This is all of my colors right here. This is, Joshua, well done.
Amazing. Thanks, Tim, for linking up Joshua. And without him, I wouldn't have been able to do this. Like, literally, we spent like an hour and a half talking through how to get this shot.
How to do it. Wow.
And I gotta say, I'm newly into landscape photography. I'm like dipping my toes in the water. It's hard. It's way harder than I thought it was, honestly. Like anything that anyway. But I consider this shot like, yes, a landscape shot, but I also consider this kind of a conceptual photograph too.
Oh yeah.
And for anyone who knows my work, I'm mostly a conceptual photographer. Like, that's a lot of my work. Like, if you go to my personal website, like if you pull up it's just aaronnace.com, AARON, N as in Nancy, ACE.com. There you go. Hit that little enter button and
did I not hit enter?
Doodly doodly doos.
And it's doing its little thinking.
It's thinking. It's going, there we go. Is my website working currently? That would be unfortunate if it was not currently working. Anyway.
Some magic.
My website, mostly it's conceptual work. That's most of what I do is conceptual work. So I actually consider this kind of conceptual work. It's landscape, but it's also conceptual. So let's go ahead and get rid of this thing. We're just gonna add a new layer here. Super easy to remove objects in, there we go, in Photoshop. We're just gonna go to my Spot Healing Brush tool, and I'm just gonna simply paint right over top of this buoy.
Ah, there we go.
There we go. My website works now.
Yes, it was missing the little dash.
Oh, okay. It's supposed to do a
dashing.
redirect, but hey, the internet, right? So let's check that out. We can see.
Goodness. That speaks to my heart right there. That
Really?
Is, yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, that's
Those
sweet.
colors.
Thank
I
you.
love it. Oh yeah.
I don't know if we can switch to my website on this stream so they can see. Most of what I photograph is people, and mostly I do conceptual work. Like this is, so this is my personal portfolio we're taking a look at right now. So you can see my entire history of photography pretty much is photographing people and like a lot of high concept lighting and everything like that. So doing landscape photography is very new to me, but I feel like because I love conceptual photography, to me this photo actually kind of says conceptual a little bit.
Oh
right?
yeah. I think that what you have here is kind of like not even knowing what a special day it was for the moon and for the fog. It's a very atmospheric sort of magical image. You know, almost like it's something like surreal that you probably wouldn't get to see yourself, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like that also is true for a lot of these in a more dramatic way, is that like your images that you have on your site are people, you know, and they're living, you know, their lives, but there's also an element of like, you probably won't, you know, see yourself something as magical as this, but you've captured it for us so that we can see it.
Oh, well, thank you. That's very sweet of you.
You're welcome.
Anyway, I know there are a lot of landscape photographers out there who are probably like, Aaron doesn't know what he's talking about. But I'm having a great time. I am just loving this. Let's go ahead and I had a little spot on my sensor too. This is Adobe Photoshop on the iPad. Is fantastic for removing little spots and things like that on your sensor. You can do that sort of thing in Lightroom as well. But, you know, obviously Photoshop is my go-to tool when it comes to that sort of thing. All right, well, check this out. I think we're looking fantastic. Now, I want to just kind of like, I want to go a little bit further with this, you know?
Oh, I thought that was a cue for me too.
Yeah, let's bring it in. So I want to go a little bit farther with this. Let's go ahead and add, we're going to just do a couple things. I'm going to add an adjustment layer here. I want to like pump up the reds and the yellows in the bridge itself. So let's go to our levels adjustment layer. Okay, now here in my red channel, I'm going to actually just crank up my reds just a little bit. Okay, and in my blue channel, we're going to pull in a little bit of the yellows too. So some yellows and some reds. Now keep in mind, you can adjust this stuff all the time. So if I don't like exactly what I did, no big deal. But I don't want this to be visible everywhere because I want this contrast between the yellow, like the warm and the cool. I love that color contrast. So let's go ahead and grab our paint bucket tool. We're just gonna fill our layer mask with black. Okay, now I'm gonna grab my brush tool and we're just gonna paint white on my layer mask just where the bridge is.
And
maybe a little bit of this fog too.
Before our chat and win too, just to let you know.
Okay. So painting this in here, let's go ahead and bring our flow up almost at the chat and win. There we go. So just painting this in right here. And we're gonna do a little bit of it right here as well. Kind of like bring in this color. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it looks so good.
All right. There we go. And if you paint over a little bit, no big deal, just grab black with your brush tool. So let's go ahead and turn that off and on. Let's go to my reds. I'm gonna crank that up a little bit more.
Nice.
All right. And obviously I painted a little bit outside the lines, but it's really easy to fix that. Just paint black on your layer mask and you can see I'm using an Apple Pencil here. It takes 2 seconds for me to do this right here on the iPad. So I'm just doing a little bit of like color. There we go.
Very nice.
Color enhancement. Maybe a little bit too strong. So
We are going to jump into our chat and win real quick. Just another reminder for those of you who are over on the YouTube chat, definitely jump over to behance.net/live because one active chatter is about to win 100 free stickers from Sticker Mule. Is there anything you would like to ask the audience to kind of kickstart them into like their chatting, like getting their chatting going, maybe about like a next project they might want to start in Adobe?
Yeah. What's the new thing that you're interested in? So I know for myself, like traditionally I photograph a lot of people and concept, but I'm falling in love with landscape photography and it's surprising me, and I'm just like, I feel like I'm learning photography again.
Nice.
You know what I mean? Like I'm being challenged in so many new ways. So what are you excited about? What's the next step for you? And maybe for someone who is in a little bit of that, like a little bit of a rut, because I know I've been there, maybe it's a good time to take a new look at your artwork from a different perspective. No matter if you're a photographer or other type of designer, like what's maybe something else that's interesting in your life that you can then bring into your work. Like I also love food. I love to cook.
Nice.
And I've been photographing my food lately too, which is also super fun. So I love taking like a passion that I have and then combining that with another passion and popping those together.
Nice.
And I know my passions are always changing. So little bit of what are you into, little bit of maybe here's some inspiration.
All right, yeah, tell us and we will see you right after this clip. All right, we are back. Let's see, we've got Marissa talking about mega passions. That's a wonderful mega passions. Yes, makeup photography. I see. That's awesome. Portraits. Some people want to get into portraits. I'm kind of doing the same thing as you. Even though I'm not a photographer per se, I paint tons of portraits. It's pretty much all I paint.
Yes, I love them.
And so I am working into like dark, you know,
dark and spooky.
But I'm looking into doing more of like what you're doing, where trying to like zoom out a little bit and show a whole story, and maybe paint a little bit more.
We got to do a collaboration.
We should. That would be so fun.
Yes.
Oh, and we've got our winner, Xavier Odin. That is the coolest name I've ever seen. It's very, very magical. That's an extremely magical name, and also fabulous initials. That is a magical name. Yeah. X and O. XO. That's awesome.
I'm Xavier.
All right, guys. For those of you who did not win, never fear. We do have a prize for everyone in the chat. Stickermule.com/Adobe Live is your gateway into 10 free stickers of your own creation. They are custom, just like the 100 sticker prize. And you can go and do a little test. Test out a sticker design. Or maybe if you've never made stickers, never thought about making stickers, now is your chance to challenge yourself to create a sticker design. Yes. And definitely show us the stickers. We want to see the stickers you folks make. We definitely do. You're welcome, Xavier. Thank you for being here with us today. All right, so we are...
I think we're doing great.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, there's a lot more that we could do with this shot. The last thing, I just want to maybe add one like levels adjustment layer here. Okay, and we'll just pop on here. I'm just gonna pump up my brights a little bit. It's just gonna give me a little bit more contrast there. But I don't want this to necessarily be visible over top of the moon because it's just like, it's too much. It's too much right now. I can't take it. It's too much.
I can't take it anymore.
Because I made my brights brighter. There we go. We just want to do like a very... There we go.
Nice.
Getting there. All right. There we go. Just like a very nice, even fade away. All right, and then I'm just gonna pop a little bit of blue. So let's grab a levels adjustment layer here. There we go, go to our blue channel. And just pop that in there. I'm gonna just paint black on my layer mask here. There we are, and then go to our brush tool, because I want these to kind of fade together. So mostly I'm just doing like a little bit of exposure combination here. There we go, and then let's go to our red channel. Oh, I was painting with black on my layer mask. I'm like, why can't I see my change? That's why. There we go, and we'll just go to our red channel. And
I did the 10 for $1 stickers of my drawings earlier this year, and I loved them. Jordan Crawford, that's fabulous. VooDoo Val, you need stickers. I do have stickers. Fun fact, I only get stickers from Sticker Mule. That's the only place I go for stickers because I'm so pleased with the quality and with their customer service. So 10 out of 10 would recommend.
10 out of 10?
10 out of 10, 11 out of 10 even. They're fabulous.
All right, wow,
Yep.
Looks like
you're going to Sticker Mule.
Looks like I'm going to Sticker Mule. 1-800, let's get some stickers.
another. I'm adding that one to the Aaronisms. That one's
the
going
Aaronisms.
on the list. I assume Tim's keeping track of these. That's he's usually the one that keeps track of like the rich memes for Adobe Light.
Yes.
Curious, should not one see a little of the red bridge in the water or reflection? I think maybe if the fog wasn't so thick right there, I think that's what was kind of like blocking
Yeah,
the red.
it was blocking it. You know, and when I was thinking about this shot, honestly, I wasn't like anticipating fog. I got there this morning and super lucked out because when I actually got there this morning, I couldn't see any of the bridge.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
So the fact that I could see this much bridge, I was personally super excited about. And
Nice.
we have this like light here, so I'm super stoked on it. I think this looks great, and we are ready for our next example. So we've obviously Photoshop compositing on the iPad is here. It's here to stay. We've got a next great example, and this is a conceptual photograph. So I'm super excited. So let's go back home again. We're going home. We're gonna import our next image here, and this one, we're gonna make jellyfish floating in a forest.
That's not a place I've ever seen jellyfish before. I'm very excited.
They normally don't hang out in forests.
Not normally.
Generally,
every once in a while.
Yeah,
but
generally they like water. But we're doing something slightly different here. A little bit more conceptual stuff, some fun stuff. So this is all Adobe stock, by the way. Really, really easy to pull these images in. So I found this image, which to me kind of like looks underwatery already.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, oh, this is so much fun. This is gonna be perfect for our jellyfish example. So let's go ahead and add in our images. So we're gonna go to our files here, and I've got four different jellyfish. So let's go ahead and add them each. There we go. You can just keep adding layers here in Photoshop, no problem. There we go, boom, and all four of these.
Amazing.
Now, super cool. Let's go ahead and use our move tool. We can kind of like move these around a little bit. There we go, kind of space them out so we can see what we've got here. Now, the cool thing about when we work with images like this is that, see how these jellyfish are like pretty dark, or sorry, the jellyfish are light on a dark background.
Yeah.
Right? So anytime you have like a light object on a dark background or a dark object on a light background, you can use blending modes to help you cut those things out. It's a fantastic like tool. I'm not having to go and draw around each one of these jellyfish.
Little strands,
Yes.
yeah, no way.
We're gonna use blending modes to help us do this. So let's go ahead to our layer properties. Let's go check out our layers and our layer properties. We're gonna use the screen blend modes. Screen blending modes, and that's gonna hide the darker areas and make the lighter areas visible.
We also have a question for you. It says,
Yes.
is there a printer Aaron recommends for home printing photos, preferably one that can be paired and printed from the iPad?
Oh,
Do you know anything about printing from the iPad? I don't think I've ever done that myself.
I've never printed directly from the iPad itself. I've got experience with Epson printers and Canon printers, and they're all pretty good, but actually I use a company called Print Lab Chicago. We actually just did, if you guys check out Flern on YouTube, by the way, we have hundreds of free tutorials. Flern on YouTube. We actually just released, if you just check out our YouTube channel.
Is there a link to it here, or I can just go to YouTube?
I think you could just go to youtube.com/Flern. We actually just did a tutorial with Print Lab Chicago. They're a fantastic company, and we released like top tips on printing. So if you guys are interested about printing, I would highly recommend.
Everyone should have the opportunity to.
That's me. That's my voice.
That's your voice. You're talking to me in two different
I'm
directions.
talking. Yeah, it can be a little overwhelming. Let's just go to the Flern uploads. There it is. Click right there. Top 6 printing tips with Print
Today we're
Lab
hanging out
Chicago.
with the
Nice.
There we go. So check out that free episode. It's on YouTube. Super, super helpful. My buddy Xander in this video gives really great advice on printing, and they do a fantastic job.
Wow, wonderful.
So,
It's great
good.
that you had like a perfect video to answer that question. As you said yesterday, you are on top of things when it comes to these uploads. This is fantastic.
Doing my best. Well, I work with a fantastic team of people, and we are in love with making just
Perfect
helpful
content.
videos,
Yes,
you know, as much as we possibly can. And plus, it's a good opportunity to hang out with VooDoo Val.
Hey!
And all kinds of my other friends, so it's just the best. So let's go ahead and get these jellyfish onto a screen blend mode, because that's gonna do most of the cutout of the background for us. So we're gonna take our blending mode, I'm gonna change it from normal, we're gonna go down to screen. And look at that, first one, boom,
Nice.
already looks cut out. Second one, we're gonna go down to screen, boom. Third one, and fourth one here. Now I know it's not perfect just yet, but it's done a lot of the work for us. So the next thing I wanna do is I wanna go ahead and like place these into the scene. Like where do I want them to be? Okay, so this one, we're gonna have this right up over here. I wanna make sure when I'm doing this, I want part of the jellyfish to be in front of these trees and part of it to be behind.
Nice, show a little depth.
It's gonna give it some depth, exactly. So let's go to our different layers here. Okay, you, couple of friends down there, let's go ahead and make you smaller. So I'm just gonna use my transform tool. We're gonna make it, there we go, just a little bit smaller. See, these are gonna go just like in the background there. There we go. So what I'm trying to do is create some depth. That's my main goal. All right, you're gonna go up there. All right, let's go ahead and transform you a little bit smaller. Fantastic. And we're gonna get to the like making them actually look like perfect in the scene in just a second. For now, my main goal here is just get them in the right place. And you guys are gonna be blown away by how easy it is to, there we go, that looks great. By how easy it is to actually make these look realistic. Okay, well, there we go. We've got some jellyfish. Obviously, we could just keep on doing this over and over and over again, but I think the four for now works for me. Okay, so let's go ahead and zoom in. Val, can you see how we have like lines around this image here?
Yeah,
like
the boxes, the border of the
border,
image.
I can still see a lot of that, right? So what I wanna do, because I'm on screen blend mode, what I wanna do is, we know that screen will hide the dark areas and it'll just show the light areas.
Okay.
So what I wanna do is I'm gonna make my darks darker. And that's gonna hide them. And I'm gonna make my lights lighter and that's gonna make them visible. So we're gonna just add a clipped adjustment. Super easy to do. Let's click on our layer properties and we're gonna go to add clipped adjustment. And right over here to levels, my best friend, you can do anything with levels. We're gonna take our dark point and I'm just gonna make this a little bit darker. See how it's kind of hiding that?
Yeah.
I'm gonna take my midpoint and make it a little bit lighter. There we go. So I'm trying to find a nice balance between dark and light. Now also, can you see how we have a good color cast here? It's like too blue.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Well, you remember with levels, we can also change color. So I'm gonna go to my blue channel here and I'm gonna take my midpoint and just drag this to the right a little bit.
I can't believe that, because my first instinct would have been to use like a mask or use my eraser tool if I was lazy about it.
No, eraser
Yeah,
tool,
I know,
no, Val, no.
I know, but that is so perfect. You did not have to cut into that or erase from it or subtract from it anyway. You just used those adjustments and it looks great. That's awesome. Well done.
Yeah, no need, right?
Magical.
No need to use a layer mask. Obviously, we have layer masks built into Photoshop, so we could use them if we wanted to, and we will in a second, but in this case, we did not need to.
It's amazing.
So much fun. Okay, so let's go to our second one. We'll go ahead and turn this layer on. See, this one we will use a layer mask because I want it to be behind the trees, right? But let's go ahead and add a clipped adjustment. We'll just use levels again. I want to do this individually with each one of these because the light conditions in different parts of the image are different.
Yeah,
so I want to make sure that they can match. Okay, we'll go to our blue channel again and just pull a little bit of the blues out. There we go. And bring our midtones up. Make these a little bit more visible. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and turn this one on. There we go. I'm just using 2 fingers here to kind of pinch and zoom in and out, and you can see it on the little screen. How nice is that? So just 2 fingers to kind of pinch in and zoom out. We're gonna add a clipped adjustment to that as well. So let's do our levels. Again, I'm just gonna take my black point, make it a little bit darker, take my midpoint, make that lighter, and then we're just gonna pull some blue right out of there. So you can see, first I'm doing my best to match the, there we go, the lighting, and then next I do my best to match the color. Let's go ahead and turn this final one on here. 2 fingers to just pinch in there, super easy. Soups dupes. We're gonna just push our black point up, grab our midpoint, okay, because we want the jellyfish to be a little bit lighter, and then pull some of those blues out of that image.
We have a question for you. It says
Yes,
from
please.
Francisco Rossi.
Francisco.
Aaron, from Lightroom, can you can open a photo directly in Photoshop. Is there any particular reason why you saved it as a file and then opened it in Photoshop? Just personal preference?
I didn't even know you could do that.
Oh, well. Learn something new every day.
Amazing.
Yeah, I think too, though, where Photoshop is concerned, there's so many different ways you can do things sometimes too that techniques that might seem like the obvious choice for some people might, not be right for others because that's, just their muscle memory and their personal preference just allows for different techniques to be used.
Totally. Well, look at this. Everyone's learning here. I love it.
Because we're diving into new stuff. Like this is very new.
This is new.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been using, Photoshop on the iPad now because I, was lucky enough to get on the beta release, which is like
very
why
nice.
I didn't have to learn it this morning, which I'm like very thankful for.
Yes.
But this is they're always evolving, and I was so honored to be able to talk with some people from the team yesterday, Photoshop for the iPad team, and they told me that updates are going to be rolling out pretty frequently, and that's got me super excited.
Yeah.
So no specifics there, obviously, but they're working hard to make this. It's already a robust compositing tool, like it's Photoshop on the iPad.
It was a very passionate conversation about it. Like they're very eager to just get this to be the best it can be. So very excited.
Yeah, I am personally just so into it. I mean, still blowing my mind. We're doing compositing on an iPad. What? Like even a few years ago, I'd buy an iPad and like use it for like a month or two, and then it would just kind of sit in my drawer.
Now it's like a serious point of like it's a work tool for me. That is like it's like a needed point in my workflow now, and it's like blowing my mind kind of like how much work I can get done just from my iPad. It's wild. I suspect that if I really, really wanted to, I could just travel and only bring my iPad and not need a laptop or to have to stop at a desktop computer at all and just be cruising around doing my thing and get all my client work done right there. I'm going to add that one to the Aaronisms as well. It wasn't particularly a word. It was mostly a sound, but I'm going to put it on the list.
That's working on an iPad. Beep, bop, boop, beep, boop. Yeah. So now we need to do a little bit of masking here because a couple of these jellyfish, like you can see this jellyfish, I want it to be behind those trees. That's what's gonna make it look realistic. So we just click on our layer mask icon here. It's like a square with a circle in it. And then we're gonna go to a brush tool. And then again, I'm just using a soft round brush. That's my jam. What I do wanna go over here is I'm gonna open up my brush settings. I'm gonna go to use pressure for size. Okay, that means I've got a little Apple Pencil here. If I press hard into the tablet, it's gonna make the brush larger.
Okay.
If I don't press hard, it's gonna make it smaller. And we're gonna go ahead and bring our flow up with this as well.
Okay.
So we're just gonna zoom right in. And honestly, I really love this zooming. It's so easy to do. Like, obviously we have keyboard shortcuts and things like that on the computer, but the fact that I'm able to, paint with one hand and like just pinch and drag and move around with the other hand, it's really intuitive. Very, very easy to use. So now what I'm doing is just painting black on the layer mask. Okay. And I want to hide these jellyfish over top of the leaves. And this is what's going to help us sell that effect. It's going to help it make it look realistic. Now, for those of you who are watching the live broadcast, you're going to have to forgive me a little bit because this is not going to be perfect because I'm trying to go quick because I don't want you to have to sit there for, But you could make it perfect.
You could, yeah.
Very easily. I'm just, I got a lot of great examples for you today on compositing. So if I don't want to spend the whole session on just one because we got a lot of great stuff to cover.
I love how good this looks though, because instead of just like having that zoom out and then just going over it lightly with a larger brush, you've come in and really given it that much more like realism by just like being precise with these little leaves and everything, which is just great.
I think it's this sort of thing that like makes an effect like this look realistic. I
agree.
It's jellyfish floating in the forest, right? Like, obviously we know that this doesn't happen every day.
Not every day.
Not every day. Just
maybe
like
Tuesdays.
That crazy, just on Tuesdays.
Just on Tuesdays.
Just like the crazy full moon this morning. Doesn't happen every day. But we want to sell the effect, right? We want to make it look like this is really happening. See how that, like,
Very
just
nice.
that layer mask?
Oh, yeah.
See how that pushed that jellyfish back into space a little bit? Okay, we're just gonna do the same thing here. And then the nicer your layer masks are, you know, it's just gonna look like, yeah, some foliage is coming out right in front of that layer mask. It's gonna put them into the scene. Do you do that with your illustrations as well?
Oh, definitely. Oh, absolutely. I think that's usually, you know, the details that I would save like for the very, very end. But I do like to, even if I'm just doing like a portrait, one of my favorite things to do is to put a portrait into a space where there's like foliage and branches and stuff just like this. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah, I've actually done a few of those. Where it's like a portrait, it's pretty zoomed in, but there's like a character that is like in a forest, and then there's, you know, like tree branches and flowers in front and behind, and kind of bisecting like, you know, strands of hair and things, just to make it look like they're like sequestered in the forest and not just like standing next to a tree or standing where there's like trees in the background. It just adds more atmosphere. A little bit of fog, you know?
Yeah, it does. It just gives it a little, like, I think it puts the subject like in the environment, you know?
Yeah.
It kind of like grounds them a little bit, you know, into that space. And you can see how easy this is. It's nuts easy. I'm just like, I'm painting with this thing. And when I'm working on a desktop computer or a laptop, I really love using a Wacom tablet. Those pressure sensitive tablets are so nice. Do you have like a Cintiq that you draw with? I
do. I use the smaller Cintiq. I do the 13 HD.
Nice.
It's just tiny. It's about the size of an iPad. Yeah, I can actually show you. I did one just
please.
recently. It's funny that you bring that up, because this one very specifically was like branches in front, branches behind, and like all around kind of, and a little bit of atmospheric fog. It's an older one, but still one that I had like a lot of fun like doing and making it like
colors.
super. Thanks.
Purple tones in the skin.
Oh yeah.
That's not an easy thing to pull off.
Made her an elf. Purple is my jam though, so I have to. Purple is my
you don't
thing.
say. I think I'm a kind of a blue mood these days.
You know what? You do blue very well.
Thank you.
Like, this is
Fabulous.
fabulous.
That's sweet of you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I do blue, and I'm doing grays a lot. I'm in blues and grays this last year. I tend to switch it up.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm pretty predictable.
You
with
yeah?
mine. Yeah, I do a lot of like dark paintings with like purple or red. Or sometimes other colors, you know, like sometimes I get like a
and
little
you do the
crazy,
same with your clothing too.
Oh yeah, I'm very color coordinated.
Yeah.
Just like black, and then like one of my favorite colors accenting it is about.
Keep it simple, you know? If it's working, keep it simple. Black is just, you know, yes please on the black, you know?
Matte black is the jam as well. I like matte black.
Ooh yeah, a good matte black. They make this paint that's like it's like the most light absorbing paint ever.
Vanta black?
I think probably something like that.
In fact, I can show what Vanta black looks like, because it's actually
just like turn the screen off. That's what it looks like.
It is so impressive. If I can pull this up. This is a statue that is painted in Vanta black. It is so black that you can't even see.
It looks like I'm closing my eyes.
Yeah, it looks like a 3D model that has yet to be textured. But that is a real photo of something painted in Vanta black.
That's nuts.
Isn't that outrageous?
That should be illegal.
Yeah, is it? Like, look, I think you have to have like a special permission to use it or something.
That makes sense.
But it's like wild how crazy and insane it is.
I want to see. I bet there's gonna be like really, really cool applications for that.
Oh
look,
yeah,
a black hole.
just a hole in the floor. That's just, you know, Vanta black. Like, it looks like you could like just jump into this hole if you want, but it's just something painted in Vanta black. It's pretty wild, right? Pretty wild.
Almost as wild as jellyfish.
Jellyfish in the forest.
Almost as wild. Mm-hmm. Well, there we go. Look at that. We just made this.
That's amazing. And
From
I love
scratch
how like you could have put it like very, very obviously in the center. You know, you could have put it like it was like the one of the jellyfish is like the focal point of this piece, but you kind of didn't. You made it very subtle. Like somebody really captured like a candid image of like these jellyfish just chilling
chilling in the
That's how I
forest.
imagine jellyfish are when they chill. They just, they do that little blub.
I think jellyfish are just chill.
Yeah, they're just
I don't
super
think they
chill.
have
Yeah.
anything
They
else.
don't have any other
They're just like,
mode.
chilling.
Yeah, just hanging out,
Hey,
shrugging their shoulders.
Hey, Val.
What's going on, man?
Just floating around.
How's it going?
Being a jellyfish.
As jellyfish do.
I don't have any choice in the matter.
Yeah.
Just going with the flow.
But I love it anyways. They love it, for sure.
Oh, fantastic. Well, we've got another great example for you.
Yeah,
We're going to be cutting someone out of their background and then putting them on a new background.
I can't tell you how many times I've needed that exact skill, though. Just like not even doing painting, but just like doing like promotional things for my own stuff. Like I feel like every designer needs that skill at some point to cut somebody out of a background.
Oh,
so
yeah.
let's do it.
Yes, it's a necessity. So let's go to import and open. We've got some great examples here. We're going to our yoga example. Here we go.
Nice.
And we're going to start with our background. So whenever we do a composite like this, I always recommend starting out with your background because it just helps you put your subject into that background. Okay, so what we're gonna do with this background first is analyze our lighting. Okay, super important to analyze your lighting. So let's talk about the qualities of light in this.
Okay.
It's warm light, okay? Like probably early morning. It's a bit directional. We have light coming from like the left-hand side. So we can see, the left-hand side of this tree is lit up a little bit. The right-hand side's a little in shadow. I've got a bit of highlight here, in the sand dune on the right-hand side. But other than that, it's pretty subtle.
Yeah.
Right? This is not stark light. It's not like we have a bright, bright sun over here and super dark shadows.
Yeah, it looks like there might be another higher dune off camera there, kind of blocking a lot of the harsh light, which is nice.
Probably. So it's nice, subtle light. And that is perfect for compositing. You want something that's subtle and something that's soft, because here's the deal. If I've got, here, let me just turn my flash on. Bang, right? It's on my face. Well, it's not even that bright because we have lights in here. But if I have,
Okay, you gotta hold
boom,
it like right here.
you get it right there, yeah.
There
If
you
I've
go.
got a bright highlight on one side of my face and a dark shadow on the other side of the face, right? If I've got something like that in my images, then I need to find a background that has the same light. So bright sun and then hard shadow, right?
It's probably gonna be pretty difficult to find something exact.
Pretty difficult to find that because the direction of the light actually makes a big difference. Like light coming from this direction is very different from light even from this direction. So when we're compositing, not only do we want to match our lighting, you want to match things like your perspective, your camera angle, there's scale, there's a lot to match.
Okay.
There's a lot of things you got to match here. So my big tip when you're doing compositing is try to find like soft lighting.
Okay.
Like clouds.
Great tip.
Clouds or like sunrise, sunset, like nice soft lighting that's just kind of like general, like relatively even lighting. You don't want bright highlights and dark shadows. It's just gonna make it harder. Not impossible, but harder to do. Okay, so this is our background image. Now let's go ahead and pull in our next image, and we have a yoga guru here.
Nice.
Again, these are both Adobe stock, by the way, and let's take a look at the lighting here. So, very different color, right? Our background may warmer, okay? This is a little bit cooler, and this is a little bit less directional as well. We just have like a general overcast day. But the quality of the light is pretty similar, right?
Yeah,
like
definitely.
we're not looking at bright highlights and dark shadows. It's relatively similar quality. So it's actually super easy to change colors in Photoshop. So to go from, this is kind of bluish, to go from bluish to like yellowish, that's super easy to do.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's easy to do. But to change lighting, like direction, like lighting from this side and then try to make it like, all of a sudden I'm lit from this side.
Yeah. And it's a common mistake that you see in a lot of composites,
Yes.
when you're like, oh, I maybe would have chose a different color for that, because even though it might be a really great photo, kind of like what we were talking about yesterday, like choosing between things that you really, really like versus the decision you should make professionally to make that end product good.
Yes.
Like what should you actually choose? Do you go with, you know, as you say, the images that have like that good lighting that makes them very cohesive, or do you choose something that you just like the look of? Like you have to make an executive decision and choose the proper image.
Definitely. So if you can match lighting for composite photos, that's just it's going to make your job so much easier when it comes to bringing images together.
And this is like kind of like an image taken at the same time of morning on opposite ends of the world.
Yes, totally. 100%.
Kind of interesting.
Yeah. It's making the desert thirsty. It's like, there's water right on top of me?
What's going
Please,
on?
I need some. So we're going to start our cutout process. Now, there are a lot of great selection tools here in Photoshop, but honestly, I think the easiest way to do this is with a layer mask and the brush tool. Okay. Now they debuted some things, Adobe Sensei, they debuted some things at Adobe Max this year. There's gonna be like select subject, select object, which I'm super excited about. But for now, I think the brush tool is a fantastic option. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna just start off with our regular lasso tool. So let's zoom in a little bit here. We wanna go basically give us a loose border around our subject. Oh, there we go. My iPad shifted a little bit. No worries, I'll just hit deselect and start over again.
Was that planned?
Yeah, that was planned.
To show off that deselect option.
A little teaching moment there. All right, so we're gonna go right around our subject here. Nice, easy to do. This is just with the magic wand tool. Boom. Oh, did I probably hit deselect or something.
Yeah, I think your thumb was on the little, your little button there.
Was it on a button? Yeah. All right, it was definitely on a button. Okay, let me just turn this layer off and on. I think my button is on something. You know what? Let's just go back home. We're going home, everyone. All right, we'll jump back right in. So I think I touched something that I should not have touched.
There we go.
There we go. Cool. So let's go ahead and get back in there. Super easy. We didn't lose any time at all. Boop, 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 boop. Beep, boop, 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 beep. Beep, bop, boop, boop. If you make that noise, it makes cutting out way easier.
Honestly, if that's not in the Aaronisms exactly as he just said that, when I check out the document later, I'm going to be upset.
So here we have just a simple cutout. Oh yeah, so someone says I'm subtracting this selection. You're totally right, Tim. I had my hand on the subtract selection over here. So these are our add selections, subtract selections. That would make sense. When in doubt, just close it down and open it up again. Here we go. Now, in this case, it's super cool because I can actually do a couple things. I'm gonna go to my layer here, okay? Now, I already created a layer mask for this layer. So if I wanted to, I could just fill this with black. So let's go, I'm gonna invert my selection here. So now we're selecting everything but my subject. I'm gonna grab my little paint bucket here and I'm just gonna fill that with black on my layer mask.
Oh, nice.
Now, if I hadn't already made a layer mask, you can just click this little mask icon right here on the bottom when you have a selection active, and it'll pop it into a layer mask.
Amazing.
Yeah, super easy to do. Okay, so I like this step because it just gets rid of like all the stuff that I don't need, you know? And then what we're gonna do next is, there we go. Let's just open this up. Oh, I paint bucketed it. Hey, there's an undo tool. Did you? I haven't actually used undo yet.
Really? Oh, well, let's see it.
It's right up here at the very top. You just hit this back button.
Nice.
Something disappears and you're like, what did I just do? Just hit that undo.
Nice.
Very cool.
And so, I have to say, this is gonna be like my new, a new part of my workflow is not erasing anything, but just creating the masks.
Just use a mask.
I'm so excited.
Oh yeah, layer masks are the best. Well, because you can make them visible or invisible at any time. And if you mess up at all, you can just fix it later.
And I didn't remove 80% of the image I'm working with.
Exactly. Super easy to do with a layer mask. So what we're gonna do now is zoom in here. Okay, we're gonna zoom in, and I'm actually just gonna paint right here. Now, I love working on the iPad because I can kind of do a little rotate here, and I can make this just work for me. I can rotate the whole iPad. But what we're gonna do is get in here relatively close and just paint this away. Now, it's funny because there are tools like the quick selection tool here, but in my experience, I think I'm able to create a clean edge just by getting in here with the brush tool and painting just like this.
Yeah, I usually find that if I use the quick selection tool, unless it's like a very specific image, I sometimes have to go and clean it up anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, if you're working with like maybe products, like if you're a product photographer or you're doing graphics for a client where you're, you know, cutting out boxes and things like that.
Yeah, then it's gonna nail it.
Yeah, then it's very easy. But I usually am working with images that have like more organic shapes in them. So if I don't like come in and do it by hand like you're doing, I usually use the pen tool, which is another one of my new favorite pens.
Yes. Oh, the pen tool is fantastic. It does a really great job cutting things out. Yes, I love using the pen tool as well. So basically when I'm doing my, you know, I would consider myself like a compositor, you know, that's like part of my repertoire, right? And it's all about the edge. You need to make sure that your edges look as good as they possibly can look. So while tools like the Magic Wand tool are fantastic, sometimes maybe the edge, you can see here the edge where I Magic Wand it, you can see it's almost like too well defined, right? Like the edge here, it's like sharper than the actual photograph.
Yeah.
Right? Photographs tend to be a little bit on the soft side. So I actually prefer to use a soft edge brush and make my brush really, really small, and that way I'm able to get the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
There we go. So here we go. This is, let's just make our brush a little bit larger. Fantastic. So here's a great example of how we do a cutout. And then you just go right around your subject. And it really doesn't take that long. It, you know, something you can do, you know, especially if you're in it to win it, you know.
That looks really good.
It looks really good.
Yeah, it really does.
You know, looks super good. Now, for the sake of time, I already cut it out.
Nice. You gonna Martha Stewart us right now? Is
You're
that what's
dang right I am. Martha Stewart, you.
Let me just put this pie in the oven and
Where did this come from? A fully done pie?
Apple pie.
Yes, we're gonna Martha Stewart this. We're just gonna add our new files and we're gonna go to Yoga Cutout. Now, let's hit done here. And then we just turn that other layer off.
Dunzo McDunzerton?
Dunzo McDunzerton. And check this out. Okay, so super cool. How did I do this? How did I get this cut out in here? Well, I cut this out in Photoshop on my laptop.
Okay.
Okay, so I was working on my laptop. And then what I did is literally I just airdropped my PSD to my iPad.
I had like a whole lesson in airdrop yesterday.
Oh yeah, it was your first time airdropping.
First time airdropping phone to phone, and I was like, Aaron, I don't know how to do this, and he was like, allow me to show you this magic. So airdrop is my new best friend. That's what I will be doing all the time as well. It's a lot of learning experiences for me being in the stream.
We're all learning today. I'm learning. We're all learning. AirDrop is super nice. Basically, it's Bluetooth transfer too, so you don't even need to be on Wi-Fi. But basically, you just select an image or something, and it can be on your computer too. So you can just you can like literally just drag it to any of your devices. It is Apple proprietary, you know. So sorry, you know, Android users, there may be something equal for Android. I'm not sure. So that's the only downside. I really wish I could AirDrop to
everybody,
to everyone. That would be nice. But who knows? Maybe in the future. Anyway, you could also just like email it to yourself, or there's many ways to transfer files these days. But
Definitely.
What I did is I cut this out on my laptop, okay, super easy, and then just airdropped it to my iPad. It was a PSD, okay, so a Photoshop document, and I opened it natively right here.
Nice.
So this is a PSD that we're working from right here.
Very nice.
Super easy. So our next little challenge here is getting our subject about the right size. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn these off. And I'm gonna need your help, Val, and I'm gonna need everyone's help on the internet too.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
A lot of help.
So, yes, it's everyone help me. Everyone help me. Oh, and Tim says Creative Cloud libraries. You could use Creative Cloud libraries as well.
You could.
Yes, you're definitely right, Tim. Let's go ahead and grab our little transform tool, and we're gonna make our subject smaller. So it's really nice to have something in your scene to give scale, right?
Yes,
like I know she's not gonna be as big as that tree, right? But here's the other thing about compositing is that if you change, like if a person's going closer and farther away, like basically just like up or down in the document, that vastly changes how large they appear.
Oh,
like check out this tree in the background.
but it's like much, much higher than the base of the tree that's in the
right.
foreground.
But that's probably like the same size as this tree in the foreground. It's just further back, right? So it looks tiny. So if I have my subject, you know, with her foot on the floor here, she might look okay in size. But as soon as she gets back over there,
then it's like, wow, that's a massive woman.
She's
just a giant.
We are running.
Yes. This is a different kind
She's
of
just
photo
like
now.
doing hurdles over sand dunes at this point.
Leaping over them.
Yes. So we want to find the balance between her size and where she belongs in this photo.
Okay.
Now the other thing that we're looking at is, remember how the original photograph was kind of photographed from kind of below, like a low level?
Yeah.
So you don't want to bring her too low to the ground, because you can see her foot kind of looks like we're looking at her foot like almost straight on, right?
Yeah.
If she was there in the actual image, let me just zoom in so everyone can see. If she was there in the actual image, it wouldn't look like we're looking it straight on. It would look like we'd be looking down on her foot a little bit.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So same thing, we need to bring this up and see how it looks more natural where she's at now.
Yes.
Like we're looking at her foot kind of straight on now. So that tells us where she should actually go in this image.
Okay.
Okay, she should be right about there. Now we need to figure out her scale. So this is where I need you guys' help because I always have trouble scaling things. I tend to make people too big.
Me too.
You do too?
You know what I do in my paintings all the time is I make heads look enormous, and then I always have to like, when I'm painting, and then I have to like scale them down because I'm just like, that's not what people look like the old Airhead commercials.
I like it. Just do that.
Yeah, just like bobblehead portraits.
Just do that.
But I do that all the time, so I totally understand like the problem with like defining scale sometimes when you're putting something in. Yeah.
It can be super tough. One thing that I do to kind of help me out is I'd like to zoom way out in my image and see like, okay, how does it look like now? And another thing that I'll actually do is I'll look at my image on multiple devices. Do you ever do this?
Yes. I actually do that because I have a problem where I paint things very, very dark. So I always look at it on my phone. I look at it on my iPad. I look at it on my desktop. Sometimes I'll go and I'll look at it on. I have a television hooked up to my workspace as well. I'll put it on the TV too because that's usually not color calibrated for painting.
Yes.
So that works very well too.
I do that with photo editing. Sometimes I make things too dark and then I'll pop it on my phone. It started because I pop things on my phone to like send it to Instagram and I'm like, this is not gonna work. So now in my editing process, I'll actually like do the same thing. I put it on a bunch of devices, see how it looks on all of the devices, like edit it to like a medium, and then that's when we know we're good.
And that zooming out is so good for photo editing, for painting and illustration, for graphic design, for anything, just to kind of get that whole scope of what you're working on. Because when you're working very, very zoomed in, it's very easy to lose the purpose of what you're doing, right?
It is, yes.
It's very, very easy because you get caught up in little details, and then when you zoom out, sometimes you find people won't even see that, or it's not as important as the grand scale of things. Now then you've spent 2 hours working on something that you didn't need to be spending that much time on. So.
Yes, I do that with retouching. When I'm retouching my photos, I don't even worry about getting in there and doing like individual, like small
like
stuff.
Pores and stuff.
I just focus on the big stuff.
Good.
Yeah. Good. I mean, that's my technique. Anyway. So what do we think out there on the stream? How does the size of our subject look? Too large, too small? What do you think, Val?
I honestly think that looks pretty darn good, but with my making heads and faces way too large, I definitely want to hear from chat and see what they think. And also, quick reminder, we've got about 15 minutes before we get to take a look at all of your challenge entries.
Yes.
So definitely head over to behance.net/live or /challenge/Photoshop to check out today's challenge and join the Discord. Post your Lightroom photos in Discord because we want to see what you guys are working on today.
Yes. I can't wait to see your photos.
It'll be great.
All right. Well,
looks
let's
like
see.
other people also go a little too dark with their images. And Justin Hawk says, "I'm ready to flirn."
Me too,
Heck
Justin.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Everyone says it could go a little bit big. All right, let's do a little bit bigger here. There we go. Fantastic. All right. Now, we can still change her size at any time. And Noel says way too big. Nicole says way too big. See, it's hard.
You could make it slightly smaller, and that might, I think it depends on your preference, but the point of her hand running into a slight tangent with the top of that.
That's a little much.
Dune, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
or it could be cool, or it could be just your style.
No, that's what I call like visual tension. You know,
yeah.
there's tension there.
Yeah.
I would either visually, I would want her hands to be, you know, here or here.
Or here, yeah.
But obviously here she's too big, so
Yeah.
let's try a little bit smaller.
Right there.
I think that looks pretty good.
I think it looks good too.
You know, again, scale is pretty tough. What I do here, we talked about it earlier, but making things super small. What we're gonna do, we're gonna work on coloring our subject, and then we can still come back to scale.
Nice. I also like how you've chosen these images because it almost looks like she's very purposely mimicking that tree, even though in real life she has no idea about this tree.
And she has no idea.
She's never heard of this
in
tree
this
before.
live stream right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, neither does this tree.
Yeah, the tree's probably gonna be so upset.
She's like, I didn't sign an ND.
I did not.
Yeah.
I did not sign off on this.
We're my model release, dude. Come on. I didn't ask to be taking pictures. Okay, so we're looking good. Now I've got a couple tricks for everyone.
I love tricks.
Tricks for compositing, magic tricks. These are in Photoshop Magic.
Nice.
Yes, in Photoshop Magic tricks. Anyone can do these with very, very simple tools. So the first of my Photoshop Magic tricks is right here. We're gonna go to a new adjustment layer and I'm gonna go to hue/saturation. Actually, we'll just go to black and white. Black and white. Okay, believe it or not, this is my first magic trick in Photoshop when we're compositing. And here's the reason why. So when we're compositing, it can be kind of tough because you're looking at a lot of things at the same time. You have to worry about matching your light. You have to worry about matching your color and also perspective and, you know, like the height of the camera and angles and all this sort of thing. But we're focusing on light and color right now. So by turning your image black and white, what this does is it discards color information. Do you ever do anything like this?
I do this all the time, actually.
You do?
Yes. I bring my paintings into grayscale all the time because it's very, very important to check the values of a piece, because if certain elements don't line up with proper values and it doesn't have like cohesive value range for the whole piece, even if your colors are good, eyes are going to catch things in wrong ways and it's not going to look as good as it can look.
Yes.
So this is wonderful.
Fantastic. So super, super important. I love this technique of just making your image black and white. Now, it's not gonna be black and white forever, okay? We're gonna turn our color back on. But, okay, let's looking at this in black and white. Tell us, looking at this, does she look like too light or too dark? Light it up in the chat. Is she too light or too dark? Check layers for the win. I call these check layers.
Also,
Thanks,
while
Tim.
we're waiting for a answer from that, we can check out this this meme that was just created for us.
I'm into it.
The hot. Oh, that was when we were taking the pies out of the oven. This is great. Hot memes. Hot, 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 hot. Very hot memes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Too
Amy
light.
says,
Too
yes,
light.
look where you can see, or you can see where to add shadows. I would say, yeah, maybe some shadows would be necessary because the trees are so dark,
Yes.
you know, and they add that nice contrast. And she technically is closer to us than the tree is closer to us, but the
A
dark
little.
values,
She's on
you
kind of
know.
the similar ground plane here. Her foot's, yes, but a little.
So you would want some of that darker value.
Definitely. So everyone's saying too light. So how fantastic is this? So what a great learning opportunity we have, because I don't know about you, but maybe when you were looking at this image before, you knew that she didn't look exactly right, but it can be tough to tell what needs to change, right? But now all of us in this chat are like, she's too light.
Yeah.
So now we know our first thing, we need to make her a little bit darker.
Yeah.
Right? So we have our first step. So what we're gonna do is go back to our yoga, back to our subject. We're gonna add a clipped adjustment and I'm gonna go to levels. Okay, so we need to make her darker. So what we're gonna do is take our white point and simply just make this darker. Okay, until she starts to look like she fits into the scene. And look at that.
Very nice.
It's already quite a bit better, right?
Oh, yeah.
So let's just turn this off and back on. So what I did is I took the white point and I just made this a little bit darker. Maybe we'll make it a tiny bit lighter there.
Nice.
So very, very quickly, very easily, I'm able to see, okay, she was too light. I needed to correct that. Okay, so I do agree we do want some contrast as well. So let's go ahead, we're gonna just add another, there we go. We're gonna add another clipped adjustment. We're gonna go to levels. Okay.
Loving these clipped adjustment layers.
Oh, they're the best. Because look at this, it's only affecting our subject. And we're gonna just do a little bit of shadow on our subject as well. Because we talked about having a little bit of shadow on our subject, right? So let's just go ahead and paint black with our brush tool. There we go. We're gonna just choose a nice low flow there. Fantastic. Let's just choose a little bit larger, and then I'm gonna take off the pressure for size there.
Nice. And it's so subtle, but it works so well.
There we go. So let's just check this out here. You can see, there we go. We'll just bring our flow down. Okay.
See you next time, Chad. Thanks for joining us.
Bye, Chad. There we go. So just bringing this in soups dupes subtle. Just adding a little bit of dark on that side too. So we're starting to match the light a little bit. Okay, so already we can see, let's just check this out. 2 quick adjustment layers that are clipped. In black and white, now look how much better this is matching in black and white. Okay, so looking at an image in black and white helps you, really helps you with your light levels. Now the next thing we need to match is our color, right? We need to match the color. So now it's time to turn our black and white off. And we're like, yeah.
That looks so good though, just with that change. And now, like, I know that adding that color change is gonna be even better.
It looks better.
Yeah, it looks better.
But we need to figure out a way to analyze our colors. So remember, we did black and white, and that helped us analyze our light levels. Now we need a tool to help us analyze our colors, and I got one for you. So what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna add a new layer here, okay? We're gonna go to our little paint bucket here, the PB.
Oh man,
it's not a thing.
Here we go.
And I'm gonna fill my entire new layer with this bright pink color.
Woo!
Yes, I love it. Now what we're gonna do is change our blend mode of this layer. We're gonna go from normal down to hue.
Wow.
Okay, so now this is set to hue. So let's go ahead and take our layers off and take a look at what we've got going on here. So what this did is it took the hue of my image, like all of my image, including my subject and my background, it matched the hue to where it's all pink. So what I'm looking at now is the differences in saturation.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Have you ever done something like this?
I have whenever I want to put like a base color, because fun fact, all of my paintings start out in grayscale.
Oh yeah, right on.
I paint all of them in grayscale, and then, I mean, sometimes I add color along the way, but I usually paint everything in grayscale, and then I start adding in color this way. So I will come in and use hue and saturation, or I'll use, or the saturation, or I'll use like the hue and the color.
Yes.
Sometimes, but usually this is what I'm looking at kind of with my paint. It's so weird how similar our workflows are.
It is,
even
actually.
Even though we do like different stuff.
Very different stuff.
Different things.
Very different things. So what I see now is that she is much less saturated than my environment, right? She doesn't look like she fits in here, right? So I know she needs more color. So how do we fix that? Well, it's super easy to do. All we have to do is add a hue saturation adjustment layer. Let's go ahead and add that. We're gonna go to hue/saturation. Let's go ahead and put that on top. So we'll just click here, boop, beep, beep. There we go. And we're just gonna add a little saturation. Do you see how just that little saturation bump? Like if you go too far, obviously she looks, you know.
A little too much.
Looks like a pink Oompa Loompa a little bit. But just a little bit of saturation and you can start to see. Let's just zoom in a little bit more. So let's just turn this off. See how she looks not saturated enough? Turn that back on. Boom.
Nice.
And then now she's starting to look properly saturated.
Yeah.
Okay. So this layer, this pink layer, remember earlier we made this pink layer and set that to hue? So we're taking this step by step. Okay, let's turn this off here. So we'll turn both of these off. So our first time we did black and white, that helped us analyze our light levels, okay? Next one, we put our hue on, Okay, and that helped us analyze saturation levels. So the next thing we need to do is analyze our hue ranges, right? Is she too blue? Is she too yellow? Things like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and take that layer and we're gonna turn it back on. I'm gonna change the layer blend mode. Now we can either use luminosity or you can use saturation. Okay, so luminosity or saturation. Luminosity is actually nice, but saturation is a little bit easier to use. And what this does is it kind of helps you see, like, is your subject too blue? Is your subject too yellow? Okay, and this is what's gonna help us out with our color. So what we're gonna do now is go ahead and grab a clipped adjustment. So there we go, let's add another clipped adjustment. We're gonna use levels. Boop, boop, beep, put it on the top. There we go. And now I need to go to my blue channel and I just need to remove some of the blues from my blue channel.
Got so many friends in chat right now. Alex Lazarus just popped in, who has been a previous guest here on Adobe Live. It's good to see you, Alex. Welcome in.
Hi.
Alicia says, Flern, yay, love this guy's videos.
Alicia, yeah, so good to meet you.
Yours, very nice. Welcome in, everyone.
Fantastic.
Also, we got about 3 minutes before we are going to jump into some design feedback.
Oh, I can't wait. Fantastic. So let's go ahead and start doing a little bit more like fine tuning in here. I think we're looking already really good. Let's just bring this down a little bit. I'm gonna go back into my levels, but we can see how using these different tools, they allow us to analyze our image in different ways. I'm gonna just pull a tiny bit of reds into the shadows there. All right.
And you know, some of these things, I don't use a lot of those blend modes for anything that I would need in painting, because that I would like leave them on there to like add into like the buildup of color. But now I can see how I can very feasibly use them and work them into my workflow just to check things like this, because that's one thing I haven't done, is just gone through and cycled through blending modes just to check it. I would cycle through blending modes just to say, okay, I'm gonna leave this layer on this overlay layer, and then I'm gonna paint on top of it or something.
Yes.
So this is just like a kind of a new doorway is being opened for me personally of how I can utilize these blend modes.
Blending, yes. Using these layers just to like check your light and your color is so helpful.
Yeah.
When I discovered this technique, I'm like, oh, this makes something so simple. Because color is so complex. So these check modes, what they do is they're like your little helpers. They help you to analyze it. So we used our little helpers here. We made it black and white first to check our light levels. And then we did some different stuff with, hue and saturation and things like that to check our colors. And now check that composite out.
That's amazing.
Like so much better, right? So let's just turn these layers off and on. Let's just turn a little eyeballs off. Eyeballs off, everybody. Okay, that is before, right? Super, super easy. 1 levels adjustment, 2 levels adjustment, a hue saturation, and another levels adjustment layer.
Ooh, that levels adjustment layer just made it pop.
That popped it up. So earlier we talked about, you definitely want to match, like your lighting, we want soft lighting. Like that's a really good step. But changing color is actually super easy to do.
Yep.
So you can see here, like, boom, that change in color, like that's a big, big jump in the right direction. And it's very easy to do, just a levels adjustment layer. Okay, now we got one more tip for you guys, which I love. We got time? Yeah, we got a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
Here's my tip. When you're cutting someone out of their background, leave a little bit of the background where their foot interacts with it. Okay, just leave that in the original picture. Leave it in there, because the shadow on the bottom of their foot, you don't want to try to recreate that shadow. There we go, let's just add a layer mask. You don't want to try to recreate that shadow right under their foot. That just is difficult to do. What it's much easier to do is blend their original background with their new background.
That is such a fabulous tip.
Boom.
Because it looks like that like adds, and as like small a thing as that is on the grand scale of this whole image, that really works to make things look so realistic. Because she really does have
that's
a foot
the
on
real
the
shadow.
Yeah,
that's the real shadow. Creating a shadow like this from scratch, surprisingly difficult to do. So keep their foot on the ground in the real shadow. And hey, little bonus tip, if you're doing a photography, if you're gonna be putting someone on like a white reflective surface in a composite, photograph them on a white reflective surface in the studio. Makes putting them together so much easier.
Nice.
Yeah, so
Very nice.
Just a tiny little bit of masking, and there we have it. A full cutout composite in just a couple minutes.
Yeah.
On an iPad.
Beautiful. And we are right on time for our design feedback. So I am going to jump over here into our Discord channel. For those of you who kind of know the drill here with our Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge, you know that this is where we put our images in for our design feedback. I'm going to jump over here just to show you guys. If you go to behance.net/challenge/Photoshop, we will have our challenges being unlocked every morning with Terry White. And then let me jump back over to our Discord. Where was it? Right here. You can put your challenge entries into the current challenge area here on the left-hand side so that we can check them out, kind of give you guys some shout-outs on stream, get a little community highlight going on, which is always awesome. So this first one that we had is from Shahid Kazmi, which is cool. This is a very dramatic Ford truck.
That looks like one of my dreams I had recently.
Really?
I was driving a truck through heaven.
Really? Really? That sounds like
do they have, when they talk about heaven, they usually don't talk about cars in heaven.
No, they don't. But I
guess
feel like some people's heaven might be.
Some people's heaven is just
cars.
Trucks.
Just trucks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I think that.
I agree.
I guess you don't really need a car.
There's a reflection here. You can look and see there's like a reflection of the tire.
Oh heck yeah!
Down on the bottom.
Yeah,
there.
the tires are. We got a little cutout here too. Like that's placed in.
I love that they also put like the clouds going overlapping the cloud there. That's nice.
Yes.
Very
beautiful.
Cool.
So, are we doing any feedback here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So, obviously, I don't know if you photographed both of these images or if maybe they're stock images, but if you did want to do your own photography, and this is something, let's say you were being hired by a client, my suggestion would be to actually try to light the truck with similar lighting of the background.
Yeah.
So what you could do is, even at like sunrise, you could light it at sunrise, like totally easily, like get a bright light coming from the back, be a little bit darker on the front, and that would help make this, it would help match the light a little bit.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so that's, what we talked about earlier. The lighting on that truck is very specific, and it's beautiful, but it's obviously in a studio. So it's very difficult to match like studio lighting and environmental lighting. So if you can try to put those two and make the lighting a little closer, definitely helps with the lighting effect.
Alex Lazarus says, as a Texan, I feel like I'm finally understood. Amazing.
Yes, trucks in heaven.
Oh, yes. Also, hello, Pokehan. Welcome in. I would say, just to add to that, it might also be interesting to experiment with reflections of the clouds on the truck. Because if it looks like a brand new truck, that's definitely something that you might see. We can take a look at our next one. Very well done, Shahid. I will give you a little thumbs up here.
Yes.
This one is from Dion, says, fairly easy challenge, but what could I have done better? Plane looks a little yellow now that I'm looking at it. Okay, so this is like an image that they took of a plane flying through the sky.
Yeah, it looks great. I think, for the yellow thing, just like we did in this composite photo, I would say just grab a levels adjustment layer and clip it to the plane. So it's only visible where the plane is. And then you can use your blue channel and just simply slide that slider to the right there, and it's going to add more blues.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
right
so
on.
nice and easy.
Yeah, nice. And then we can take a look at the next one. These are really cool. This is from Leslie, and it looks like she did a few different edits here. This is from Lady of the Lakes Ren Fair, which looks super, super fun. So I assume this is the original image. This is totally something that you would find me at, by the way, dressed in costume.
I've never been to a Ren Fair, and I've always wanted to go.
Oh, they're so fun.
I've always wanted to go. It's just like it hasn't worked out, but I'm gonna I will go to a Ren fair.
Yes.
I will go to a Ren. Maybe we can go to a Ren fair together.
We should go to a Ren fair together. Honestly, I have so many costumes and things to put on. So the thing with going to a Ren fair is you'd have to stop me from painting myself purple and putting my elf ears on, which I've done on stream, by the way. Like I've already infiltrated the Adobe live stream in the elf garb.
Yes.
That's what I would be doing for a thing like this. So it looks like this is the edited version in Lightroom.
Okay.
So that's cool. Added like a lot more of the blues, which looks very nice. And then it looks like this final edit, she actually put herself into like a forest, which is cool.
Yes.
Yeah. So any feedback for this final edit?
I like it. I think you did a really good job matching the colors. You know, the blue in the forest and the blue in the headdress.
Yeah.
I think it's really great. Can we go back and see the original one?
Yes. There we go.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So she even really changed like the contrast and the levels here with everything looking like a little bright, especially like around the glasses and everything. And it looks like everything was like very very darkened.
And
here.
you did a very good job cutting out too.
Yeah.
Looks flawless.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah, fantastic.
Nice.
Got my Ren Fair
plans going
my
on.
plans,
Yeah.
yes.
All
San
right.
Francisco Ren Fair, where are you?
Let's see, editing an image in Lightroom. I'd love to see the before and after for this because it can be kind of hard to tell the actual changes that were made. But I mean, just looking at this looks like a beautiful image. Very dramatic clouds here, beautiful hills. But I would like to see where you came from with that, so that we can know.
Take us on a journey.
Yeah. But anything to say just based on this image?
I think it's beautiful. I think your color, rendition is very nice. It's something that can be difficult to do in a landscape, and I think you've nailed it here.
Yeah.
We got red, green, and blue. What's not to love there? Primary colors, right?
Definitely. You know what it reminds me of is if you've ever seen like the images from the whole like Walden, Henry David Thoreau. Like all the images of the area was all like beautiful, like golden trees and leaves and water and everything. That's kind of what it reminds me of.
You know what? Also interesting, my buddy was telling me about landscape photography. He says that he looks at landscape paintings for inspiration.
Oh, that's really interesting.
And I was like,
because I feel like I've met so many people who like to want to separate the two, but honestly, landscape paintings usually are like the most beautiful, like picturesque version of nature.
Yes.
So I suppose if you're using that for reference, then the images you're taking are pretty magical.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
pretty fabulous.
It's like, okay, what about this makes
Coming
it
to life,
beautiful?
yeah.
Right? Like in a landscape painting. And it's mostly about the light. I feel
in composition.
and many things. I don't want to oversimplify here. Let's,
But no, dramatic lighting and like impressive composition or vast spaces like that. Because that's kind of like, especially for fantasy landscape paintings, that vast, like you're in a kingdom kind of feeling, you know, is usually what for me makes it like very magical. There's not a lot of spaces like that left, you know. I guess like there's a lot of beautiful places you can go, but like you can't just like cruise down the street and see like a wide open valley where a castle could fit. So you know.
Yes. Give me that. Give me more of that.
Castle places.
Castle places.
All right, so the next one from Ant says day 1 importing and exporting images from Lightroom Classic.
Nice.
Ooh, this almost looks like our area here in San Francisco.
It does look around here. Okay, so right by the water this morning, it was super foggy. Yeah. And I look over, and what I thought was just the other side of the bay turned out to be one of those.
Really? What a big barge.
It was so big.
Really?
Like mind blow. I don't know if they go by during the day or if it's just a nighttime thing, but I thought it was an island.
That's so funny. I had the same experience. I was coming into the city, not this time, but the last time that I visited, and I look over to my right, and there was tons of fog, like a wall of fog, as I'm going over the bridge, and I'm like, oh, you know, and then all of a sudden, like a gust of wind comes through, and it all clears very quickly, and there's a giant cruise ship, and I've never seen a cruise ship up close, so I was like, what is that? Oh no!
I'm freaking out.
It's very, very, very weird to see something that large all of a sudden, and you didn't have any like knowledge that it was that close to you.
Yes.
So
yes.
But very cool. This one, I think, I don't know. I guess like with all the fog and stuff, that's, you know, how the sky looks. I would almost want to see like some interesting experiments with the contrast. But, I mean, it also is just like kind of a nice, subtle, like relaxing, you know, kind of view as well. So you could leave it.
I hope there's some nice stuff on there.
Yeah.
I heard about this, this like shipping container thing. That one of the containers was like filled with like, I think it was rubber duckies or something like crazy like that. And like they're still finding them around the world. Like
That's
the
hilarious.
thing like sunk like many years ago and they just like.
Oh, it sank. And so they're just popping up.
Well, I think, okay. So I think what happened is like, you know, these big shipping liners with the containers, they go in like heavy water. Like sometimes there's storms and like.
One fell off.
They always fall off. Like something's always like these. Whoever they must have nice insurance because there's always something falling off of these things, right? Like you can find YouTube videos of it.
That's so
anyway. Anyone heard about this in the chat? Like I think it was a rubber. Like it was just full of rubber duckies.
That's great.
And it's just like. You know,
all over the world.
Yeah, all over the world. Yeah, it's
that's
like,
great.
Rubber ducky. Where this came from?
That sounds like a purposeful troll. Like that sounds like somebody set that up.
Yeah, someone's like, whoops.
Yeah. Oops. 5 million
That's
rubber
gonna be
duckies.
unfortunate.
Yeah. All right, and the next, I think this is the same. Oh, this is the same from Ralph. So Ralph made the plain yellow in the previous one. This is the original one, I believe.
Okay.
So very nice. So we get to see another version of that. This from Marco, before and after. This is very interesting. This is very cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
From sea to fields. Isn't that a song? Isn't that
sea
like,
to shining sea?
Yeah, that's what that is. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Very close. From sea to shining land here. Cool.
Yeah.
You know, job with the silhouettes, right? Shows you what you can do with silhouettes, the power of them.
And this is kind of an interesting just way, because you were talking about making sure like when you're going to be compositing things together that you are choosing images that are very like in color and things. And this is just really cool, just choosing images that you can, that work well with like that whole silhouette thing. Because both of these lighting situations, both of these times a day, make it like very obvious. Like if I had only seen one of them, I would assume that was the original. You know what I mean? Like I would just see, you know. So this is really cool. Two totally different places, and this guy is just chilling in both of them. Like, yeah, I belong here.
Yeah, I like them together too.
Oh, yes.
You know, I think that makes it, you know, because it's like, oh, there's something going on here.
The colors, honestly, are so complementary to each other. This could be like kind of an interesting thing to have both of these framed in a room, you know, separately.
Oh yeah, separately, but like side by side.
Yeah,
I like it.
Very nice. Well done, Marco. And then we've got some from Sean here. So here's the before. These seagulls just look.
I took a picture of seagulls yesterday at the pier.
Seagulls are terrifying to me. They're almost as terrifying to me as like those really big pigeons that don't fear humans.
They do not mess around.
They just walk up to you and they're like, food?
Seagulls
Can I get some?
Do not mess around.
No, they don't. They.
I caught one time.
You caught? How do you catch a seagull? Look. Like maybe I asked you a question you don't want to answer.
So I have two brothers, and one day we were at the beach, and it was our goal to catch a seagull. So what we would do is one person would throw up bread into the air, and the seagulls would just like come like right down to get it.
Before it hits the ground sometimes.
Before it hits the ground. And, you know, within doing that of a few minutes, you got 100 seagulls around you, right? And they're not paying attention. They're just like, bread.
Mine.
So, yeah, mine. So my brother's throwing bread in the air, and we just came from back around and just grabbed the seagull, like right out of the air.
I would be terrified to be that close to a seagull large enough to wrap both arms around.
It's not a good idea to do that, by the way. They will bite you a lot until you let go of them, basically. Yeah. I don't recommend...
don't catch seagulls.
Doing that. Just leave them be.
Does this one especially, this one looks like it would be like, hey!
Oh, yeah.
Stop!
That's a mean-looking seagull.
Yeah,
I heard, and I don't know if this is true, but I heard that birds are descendants from dinosaurs.
Yeah, raptors. Their skeletons are exactly alike. Like raptor skeletons.
And that looks like a dinosaur to me.
It does.
You know, that looks like straight out of Jurassic Park.
How far the T-Rex has come.
Yeah, that looks like don't mess with me.
Yeah. They're small birds, but they still have that ferocious passion in them.
That looks. I'm gonna eat all your bread and your trash.
Yep, and your trash. Yeah. Oh no.
Maybe some fish around here if I can find them.
Okay, so that was the before, and then this is the app. Oh, so we made. Wait a second. I want to know.
Did you make it bigger?
Is
there more room?
I want to believe that it's this large. I want to believe that the bird is massive, but it looks.
Oh, it was
believable.
a small bird. You made the bird bigger.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm looking at the rocks though, because that's like he kept that rock. No matter how he edited it, he kept that rock and made the rock like. See,
I want to see this with like a person beside it. You know what I mean? Like, show me like giant terror seagull. Like, forget about like Godzilla.
Yeah.
Like, giant, terrifying seagull.
Yeah,
like,
seagulls?
I would.
With no fear.
I would not. I would just bury myself underground.
It'd be horrifying.
If I saw one of those things.
But it looks like he employed kind of like the same thing you did, where you did not remove the ground 100% from around her foot.
Yes.
Because it's believable in both of these because it's.
Isn't it crazy?
Right
We
there.
looked at the giant seagull and neither of us even noticed it.
Yeah, that it was just a massive.
Both
bird,
of us were
way
just
too
going,
big.
that is a giant seagull.
Of course, Val knows all about dino seagulls. I actually majored in dino seagull. So it's a language, and I don't know if I'm being patronized. I'm just kidding, Alex. Alex is a joker. He's a funny guy. All right, so this is from the farmers market.
Oh, great!
Market marigolds.
I love a good
Very
farmers
nice.
market.
That
Yes.
could also go on the wall.
Are marigolds edible?
Yes, you're also supposed to plant a ring of them around the tomato plant to keep bugs and stuff away.
Is that a thing?
That is a thing.
I had no idea.
Oh, you're a plant guy.
I love
plants. So
plants.
we could like talk about this for hours.
Yes.
In your garden, if you have tomato plants, plant a ring of marigolds around each one. And yes, you'll have much healthier tomato plants.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Okay.
This is beautiful. Very vibrant.
Beautiful marigolds.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then let's
A lot
see.
of plane
challenge one.
photos.
Yes,
You know,
a
that's
lot of
something
plane
I've never
photos.
taken a picture of, is a plane.
Really? Now
Well,
you
like
know what you gotta
out
do.
of a window while I was in the
a
plane.
but not a picture of
Not
a
the other
plane.
way around. No.
Go to the airport. Find some pretty planes. This is
I have
great.
some friends who are like professional plane photographers.
Really?
I have one friend who's like actually pretty well known for it.
Really?
And then I have another friend who's an enthusiast.
Really?
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, it's a
Well,
thing.
you have a lot of opportunities to take pictures of planes. Honestly.
I suppose I do.
Yeah, you could do that.
It's time for me to call in a favor.
I think all of these images are really lovely, but I'm especially loving this one in the middle here.
Yes.
With this sort of depth blur here. You know?
Gives it some, it frames the photograph and it gives me a little bit of perspective and some scale. Yes.
Yeah, very, very nice. I'm loving it.
It's like our jellyfish behind the trees a little bit, right?
Yes,
It's like
exactly.
it puts it in place.
Exactly.
Gives the photo like
Some
something
little-
close, something far. Foreground, background.
And I think that's it. I think these are all from previous previous challenges, but I'm going to scroll down to the bottom here just to make sure we didn't get any submissions while we were working today. Yeah, looks like we did. Very nice.
What is this, Lord of the Rings?
That is beautiful. That looks like a cathedral
Oh, it
or
is.
like
Some sort of place.
a theater, maybe?
I would love to do a photo shoot there,
Yeah, this is beautiful.
whatever it is.
Very, very nice. I've got,
Give me
let see if I
a-
can turn my,
Yeah.
there we go. Haha.
Give me a couple lights and someone, you know,
Like people dancing or floating. in
yes,
something.
people dancing or floating. Have you ever done any of your artwork but like tried to turn it into 3D, like make headdresses and things like that?
I mean, I do model in 3D. Like, I do, like, 3D sculptures and stuff.
But
Is that
like
what you
in
mean?
physical, like, or on a computer in 3D or physically?
Computer in 3D, I have never, like printed them 3D or anything.
Dude.
But that would be awesome.
That's our collab right there.
We should do that.
You can make something in 3D,
and then you...
print it, put it on them. You could
And
design
then-
a whole outfit in 3D, print it, I'll photograph it, and then you can add like special magic
Oh my gosh,
like
yes.
drawing animation to it.
Yes. Oh my... And so who's this unordinary cat has sparked this collab between the two of
Thank
us.
you, unordinary cat.
Yes. Did you study bird law? I am bird law, Alex.
Yeah.
That's... Yes.
You
I
are
am.
bird law.
I am bird law.
Do you watch Rick and Morty, by the way?
A little bit.
The new their new episodes are coming out.
Really?
Like,
oh no!
Very
Okay.
shortly here.
All right.
They might already be out, but I saw a billboard for it in LA a couple
man.
days ago.
Oh no! Oh, I'm in trouble. Let's see. So that was the. I don't know if which was the original. Maybe this is the edited version, kind of changing. Oh no! This. Wait a second. That looks more intricate.
Yeah, maybe.
I almost wonder if
some adjustments there in Lightroom or Photoshop. Bring out some detail in the shadows.
Wow! Very nice. Very very nice.
Yes.
And then let's see. I think we have just the one more. Oh, maybe let's look at the original versus this. Let's see. So that's that one that he posted before.
Yes.
And let's see. It looks like it's a little bit brighter.
And
and
yeah,
there's
some
the
work on
texture from the clouds in the, in the side. That's so perfect and like very subtle. Awesome.
And hey, good job, by the way, making that change during the live stream and uploading it during the stream. I mean, fantastic job,
right? So he's really listening, taking in criticism, constructive criticism very well. That, I think, honestly, if I can say, taking constructive criticism is one of the greatest lessons I ever learned being a professional artist. Because not only did it help me to like really listen to like what the viewer thinks about my work, it actually taught me how to be a lot less tense when it came to making my work, because I wasn't worried about making it right the first time. I'm okay with creating work and then posting it and letting people give me feedback on it and kind of sorting through it in a healthy manner.
Yes,
because not all feedback is constructive.
That's very true.
But being okay with that really helps me to come back, revisit, revise my work, and make it into the best work I can make it.
That's so great.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard to take critique.
Oh yeah.
Very very difficult. But you're right. Learning to like be okay with it. I think because we create art and we put a lot of ourselves into it.
Yes, it feels like a personal attack sometimes if someone's like, I don't like that part, and you're like, it's me though.
Yeah, I know, and you take it as like, I don't like that part of you. And I think learning how to take critique, but I also think learning how to give critique.
Oh yes.
Is something that I know that I am. I continuously working on it because it's very difficult to do, but I agree. It's an opportunity to grow.
Definitely, and in a lot of different aspects other than just accepting criticism. I definitely think it enhances and improves my entire workflow, because I don't have that tenseness. Like I want it to be great that first time. I'm okay with somebody not liking it. I'm confident in my own work, because sometimes I can say, I appreciate that feedback, but I like it the way it is, and I do my own thing. Or I say, you're right, and then I'm confident and comfortable with coming back and changing some things later instead of posting it and like, that's it. That's all.
I'm done.
Like, So I think it helps in a lot of different.
Exactly.
Don't comment on it at all.
Just don't say anything unless it's really good.
Yeah. So I think it definitely is something that helps a lot of different aspects of the workflow. And I commend you, Shahid, for taking that feedback and then revising it and posting it yet again for the world to see. That's
commended.
Yes, commended. I'm giving out medals today, apparently. But we've got just a minute and a half here.
By the way,
we have to take
talking about a medal, look at this Photoshop coaster. How do I get one of these?
I can Vanna White it for you.
Yes. Can this be my medal?
Yes.
I literally just found this on the desk right now. This is not mine, but I
bet if you reclined a little bit, you could just rest it there on the.
There we go.
There you go. Dun 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 dun.
Hold on, I gotta put it in the middle, so I'm like super Photoshop.
Like Shazam.
Yeah, I'm Shazam. I'm super Photoshop. I'm like a Care Bear. I like blast it out of me. And,
like a Teletubby. No, just like.
Yeah. There we go. I'm like, that trash can is distracting. Gone.
Just Photoshop it away.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
It's like, I woke up with bags under my eyes. Gone.
Boom. All right, we've got about 30 seconds left to a minute. 30 seconds to a minute left. Where can people find you online?
Well, if you're interested in hanging out with me, the best place is on Instagram. Instawham. I am super into it. I'm always posting stories. There's a post I did today about being on this live stream. My Instagram is aknacer, AK-N as in Nancy, ACER. That's on my personal, but Also Phlearn, that's Phlearn. Phlearn. We are just a one-stop shop for learning photography, Photoshop, and Lightroom. We've been making tutorials for over 10 years now. We've got hundreds and hundreds of free tutorials on YouTube. So just go to YouTube, type in Phlearn, go to phlearn.com. You can learn more advanced techniques like compositing and retouching. We have a subscription. You just pay once a year and you get access to literally everything on the website. There's no easier way to learn, like just like stuff we did today, but we'll take it even to the next level. You get to download sample raw images, you get Photoshop actions, Lightroom presets. It's just the whole thing. You just get in there and just say, woo!
Just go for it.
Feels like a magic place.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Please stay tuned for the XD Daily Creative Challenge with Andrea Hawk. And happy designing, everyone. Adios.
Thank you, everyone.